for me it was different because I mean, coming into a setup of two already experienced, recording musicians as Steph and Russ were, I had to my role was just to kind of support them and the recording. Overall, I mean, it went quite well. I recorded last, so I had the opportunity of hearing what the other two had done, and I could kind of think a bit more and have a bit more time in knowing what I was going to do. Overall, it went pretty well. Some bits needed, sorting out, but it always does. And it was quite an enjoyable experience.
Yeah, I think that the album's going to be a good one, like a real kind of success. I mean, the idea was when we started out, we only wanted to make, we weren't trying to do anything groundbreaking. It was just meant to be like a good, fun, heavy rock album that people enjoy, and it has like bits of blues and bits of funk and bits of all sorts in there, really. And just, what any band can hope for is that some of your influence will shine through and people will go, oh, you can see what they're doing there. So, yeah, hopefully it'll turn out quite good.
Well, I hope, for the album, I hope it works out to be a big success. We're all pretty hopeful.
Recording the album was fun. It was intense playing guitar for about 7.5 hours, I think it was. But it was nice and relaxed, which was good. No pressure from like a studio. The style of the album is a lot more fun than the first one, I think. A lot more I don't know. It's a lot heavier than the first one, and it's a bit more Van Halen inspired, I think, by all of us.
Well, I think the album will be mostly appreciated and liked by just kind of rock fans, really, of ZZ Top and that kind of thing. We put little bits in there kind of as nods to people who were, influenced by ZZ Top, of course, and there's like, Steph's a big Satriani and Van Halen fan, and there's all sorts of things in there, and we've really kind of put a lot of effort into it, and it should really appeal to a lot of people. There's different there's a lot of kind of hints at genres and things. There's a funk kind of track on there. There's heavy rock that opens up with, and there's a happy one. It really is varied, and it really kind of works to show what we're all about a bit now, and how we've grown and expanded, and we're all really looking forward to see how it's received by everyone.
Being in the studio was just it was just fun. It was just kind of like jamming out with your friends. Like we originally wrote the songs. I mean, I wrote some of the demos, sent them to the band. We then practiced the ones we wanted to practice, and then we sent the rest out to the studio where we went to rehearse. Then we recorded some rough demos, and then we recorded some slightly more polished demos with a little bit more less craziness going on, and then we just sort of did the whole thing over the demos, really. So we did all the guitars in one day, did all the drums in one day, vocals in one day, and did the bass in one day, and we pretty much did instrument by instrument, and Rich was there for like moral support on all the days, and most of the days. It was just cool. It was just good fun. There was no pressure, no trouble. Just it was just fun. It was just a good feeling because you felt like you were making something that was going to last and something that was actually, pretty decent.
My influences range from a variety of different guitarists: Steve Ray Vaughan, Buddy Guy, and a lot of Robert Johnson blues. Also a lot of like metal guitarists, rock guitarists. Vernon Reid, who inspired like the whole of the second album, and Eddie Van Halen, of course. Mike McCready from Pearl Jam. Angus Young. Everyone tries to do that Angus Young thing. Yeah. And some more that I don't remember.
Well, as a bass player, big influences are kind of Paul McCartney and John Deacon. I mean, I've got a while back I bought a book on Paul McCartney and just looking at specific things that he does and different tools and just the way he kind of everything he does is kind of so intricate and so purposeful. And same with Deacon and Jim Lee and kind of John Entwistle and all that kind of thing. I mean, Entwistle's just on a different planet, really. So we can only do what we can.
Compared to the last album, there's quite a big change because obviously we have a real bass player. He had his own ideas to bring into the mix, which is really good. And it's just a better album. It's a billion times better than the last album. Sometimes when I listen to some parts of the old album, I want to cringe just because of either my singing or just some of the production value, really. But this is where all the old gear went. This is all brand new equipment. A lot of expensive stuff went into the album for the home studio. We did it at my studio, and we did the bass at Rich's house, and the drums were done in the loft in like a drum sort of room that I built in the loft. And the only thing I went and did sort of outside of our studio was the vocals. I recorded them with my own gear, but that was at Unit 6, which was another studio, just so I could get out there on my own and just have complete concentration and just make use of the nice sort of acoustics of the rooms and whatnot.
I mean, I just look at my role as trying to have a positive input and contribution while supporting everything else that goes on and trying to make the whole thing sound really good, and hopefully we've all contributed to a good product.
I think for drumming influences on the album, for drum players, my main influences would probably be guys like Keith Moon, John Bonham, Buddy Rich, Carmine Appice, people like that. Guys who are, Neil Peart, guys who are just rock heavy in there all the time. And I try and put as much of my own flavour into the playing as I possibly can. So, that's the kind of beauty of having the album. You can really show off what you can do as much as you can. So there's a lot of fun stuff to do on the album. The tracks are always written like that. There's always a lot of stuff to do. I mean, anyone could play them however they wanted, but that's what makes us who we are, is we play them how we want to play them. And in our case, we like a lot of soloing and stuff like that, because that's the old school style. That's going back to stuff that's in the 70s and in the 60s and 70s and that we're really influenced by, because that's who we are. That's what we want to be. Back then, when the guys, were really showing off all their best cards, straight away. And that's one thing about Steph, is he's straight, like, first track, he's straight in there showing everything he's got, as if to say, like, if I don't do it now in this song, I'll never get to do it again, or if the house is going to burn down, I better finish this solo and make it the best one ever. That's kind of what I find funny in a good way about him, is someone, when we do live gigs, first track, there's no waiting around, there's no waiting to tease the audience. It's just like, this is how I play, deal with it, or get lost kind of thing. And it's the same with my drumming. I think it's the same with Rich. Obviously we're into dynamics and we want to hold back when we have to hold back, but it's pretty much, we're up for showing you what we're all about pretty early on in the mix.
Since joining the band, I've always kind of, when I was first asked to join, I always kind of tried to check the other two out, Russ and Steph, out on on YouTube, whatever, just to see what it's all about. And I've always thought of them as really good, excellent kind of musicians, and it's always been me kind of trying to tie it all together and everything. And on the album it really shows, because Steph's guitar is just he really went to town on it. You know, the solos and just everything. He kind of let go and just. I mean, it was a good recording experience. We were all there and just, you know, gave him the time and everything. And you really can see. He really shows what he's got.
It's a studio cat. Jimmy or Steph? That's the question. Jimmy or Steph? You decide.
What I've heard so far of the album, I like. It's a lot. It's different to the first one. The first one was good, but there was a lot I would have changed. This one, I don't know. It's a lot better. I'm hoping it's going to be quite big.
Sao? Suy nghĩ mà chứ.
They're really packed. Knocked his glasses off, didn't he?
Yeah, you know, these are expensive stuff.